All right, guys, listen, we must have a discussion. We must have a deliberation like we like to do from time to time on this channel. No intro today. Why? Because we must go immediately in and get active. All right. Now, Kid Cudi. Day and night. That Kid Cudi. I recently saw a picture of this young man. And he had on what appeared to be a full-length dress with floral prints on it. Matter of fact, let's just bring it up on the screen here real quick, all right? Kid Cudi went to Saturday Night Live a few days ago. And during one of his two performances, decided to adorn himself with what appears to be something that you would see your grandmother wear, complete with rainbow watch and necklace. Okay. You can see him right here. I don't know if you could, he sticks out like a sore thumb, but you can see him right here doing the double bicep curl, showing his strength. So we must talk about it. We must go in there. All right. Let me preface this discussion before we get started and make it abundantly clear of my issue. I am not coming at the people who are gender fluid, right? Are of a particular sex and do things or wear things of the other sex. It's not what I'm coming out. I think that everybody should live in their particular truths as long as it makes you happy and as long as it's legal. I could care less. The portion that I do have a problem with, and I want to make this abundantly clear, is those that sell out for the bag. They sell out because the community that they want to get popping in has a particular culture. And if you're a part of that particular culture that pushes their ideologies, you will sacrifice who you are as a person for the bag, for money. That's what I have a particular problem with. This Hollywood, aka Hollyweird, is one of the weirdest places on this planet, and it remains the place that I choose never to move to. Sorry, Cali. Sorry, LA. I choose not to because it's a little bit funky down there. Let's keep it 100, okay? Now, when I talk about this bag thing, some of you may have already heard about this. You may be already aware. He wanted to tribute the late Kurt Cobain. I believe he died in the mid-90s. I want to say around 94. Suicide, unfortunately, okay? Suicide in America amongst men is not talked about or addressed enough. You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, RIP. So I said to myself, I took off my non-judgment hat for a second because I was judging at first. I will tell you guys that I'm the first person to admit that I'm a particular biased individual, but I try to remain objective to get to the truth. So I took off my bias hat and I said to myself, oh, okay, connection as well. Let me make this clear as well. Here's the connection. Kurt Cobain was going through depression very publicly about his depression, suicidal thoughts, how the industry was affecting Kurt Cobain's songs, as well as getting a tattoo of him. And this just is so. But anyway, I said to myself, for Kid Cudi to do this in order to tribute someone that is important figure within his life, this must have been important to the originator, right? The person that he's wearing this sequence. Is this even a sequence? I don't even know. I don't know women's fashion, okay? The tube dress, okay? The tube floral print dress. There must be a good reason, because then the tribute would make just a little bit, just a wee bit more sense. Got another article here for you. Why did Kurt Cobain wear a dress? I had to figure this one out. Kurt Cobain used fashion to define gender boundaries. Stated that he likes florals because there's nothing more comfortable than a cozy floral pattern. Read that sentence again. There's nothing more comfortable than a cozy floral pattern. He was a troll. Yeah, that's what that means to me. He was trolling. He was trolling. Okay. So when I take a look at what Kid Cudi is doing today, and I say I take another look at what Kurt Cobain was doing 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, what I see is folks that are in an industry that it pays to push this difference because it takes eyes off of what people are doing towards you, just like I'm doing right now, to talk about it. Okay, that's a troll quote right there. I got a lot of trolls on my channel. I know a troll quote when I see one. All right. There's no specific reason why Kurt donned dresses other than to communicate the idea that he believed in gender fluidity and didn't abide by any fashion rules. This is the opinion of the writer. In fact, most of his clothes came from thrift stores and apparently some lady who was in Nirvana. Let's get back to this original article. Okay. Let's get back here. What I find it so interesting about this particular clip as well is if you take a look over here, RIP DMX. So even on the same day that this is happening, no tribute or RIP to the recently deceased DMX, but a tribute to Kurt Cobain. That's neither here nor there. I just thought it was interesting within this particular clip, considering the circumstance of Kurt Cobain. Nevertheless, let me prove this agenda that's happening in Hollyweird. GQ is a staunch, liberal, left-leaning newspaper, magazine, whatever. Kid Cudi, this is the title, off-white SNL appearance is another sign that dresses for men. There you have it. All right. This is the agenda taking place. And listen, I don't like to do the conspiracy theorist-ish at all, but this is what it is. We are Hollyweird. We are in this entity. If you want to get on, you follow our rules. You follow our rules. You sacrifice this idea of who you are, right? Sacrificing your confidence, your masculinity, your respect. And it'll be a cyclical effect. You do that, well, the engine behind us will continue to push you. And as the engine around you, such as GQ magazine, continues to push for men, is what men are actually doing and or thinking. What I often find is that what's popping to be able to do is to be the opposite of a particular narrative. So I say that to say is that, when you take a look at a man and you take a look at a woman, you generally assign masculinity to men and femininity to women. So when I look at things like this that happen, I just look at those that are trying to go against our biology and our evolution in order to get more clicks, in order to get more eyes. One of the most damaging things that I could think about within our culture, especially when we think about building relationships and forming relationships with people, is this evening of gender roles. And if not the pushing of feminine characteristics and traits in men, and the pushing of masculine characteristics and traits in women. It's one of the most weirdest / interesting things to grow up into, and especially myself being 35 years old and, feeling like I know a great deal about the world and our life and can make pretty good decisions in order to discount from sometimes is that there's other people that haven't had the proper guidance in life to look at a particular situation and understand what's happening, right? Like talks about dresses replacing suits as universal gender neutral. You keep the dresses over there. Again, I'm not hating on you. If you like to wear dresses, go ahead. But the way that we define masculinity over here does not involve gender neutral dresses. No, you guys can keep, that's all for y'all. But let me just round out the point real quick just to make it abundantly clear. If you were sitting right here in front of my face, the issue is if you're doing this for the bag, There's too many young men and women that look up to you, that look at your moves as an example. And I think that once you get a platform, you have to take great care of the image that you project. You have to. You have to. The problem is that as you project this, I think it does more harm than good to gender roles in society. I think it does more harm than good. It confuses young people that watch you. There appears to be a war on masculinity. It seems like feminine. It seems like they already lost that war. But I would say that the war still continues on masculinity because we have those here that are saying something, speaking up and fighting back of the images that we're seeing across the internet. Guys, I had to talk about this real quick because I feel like sometimes like people just think that we're bugging. Like people just think like there's people, the detractors that come into the space and it's like, what are you guys talking about? Stop, da-da-da. And it's just like we're bringing up these very nuanced and unique cases that it seems to be, if you go elsewhere, they're just talked about in some like light as if, yes, we're changing the world. We're just so good. And it goes against our biology. We're trying to fight something that is established innately to us in general, in mass, established innately to us. I'm not going to run my life based on the outliers. That's not what I do. I don't look at the outliers as my truth, and you shouldn't either. Let me also reiterate, if you want to wear dresses, my G, that's your thing. Go ahead and do it, okay? But I have an issue if you're doing it to push a product. You understand? Questions, comments, concerns, y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Feel free to hit me up. Got a Patreon. Click down the link in the description box down below to see what's in store up there. Also, last but not least, I got an Instagram. Feel free to click on that link also down below to follow your boy. All right? Until next time, YouTube. Peace!